all know that music entertains us, but there's so much more to it than that. Music is what brings us together. It can inspire, motivate, and heal. And just sometimes, a song can say everything when we can't. I'm so excited to bring you these wonderful tunes and artist stories. I'm Stacy Newman, and this is More Than the Music. Hey guys, welcome to More Than the Music. I'm Stacy Newman. This week we're talking to Tracy Lawrence. He's got a new album out full of duets with people like Tim McGraw, Jason Aldean, Kelly Pickler, Luke Bryan, and even more. It's called Good Ole Days. We talked to him over at the Willie Nelson and Friends Museum and General Store. Let's take a look. Hey guys, we are here at the Willie Nelson and Friends Museum and General Store in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are talking to Tracy Lawrence today.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. I'm excited about being in this place. I've never been in Willie's Museum, and there's some very interesting things in here.
There sure are.
I have to wander around a little bit when we get through the interview.
For sure. The General Store's got some good stuff too.
Cool.
All right, Tracy, well, tell us a little bit about your new album, Good Ole Days.
The whole concept of the album, it's basically a duet project. I went back and recorded 9 of my previous big hits, everything from Sticks and Stones to Paint Me in Birmingham, and did duets with Tim McGraw, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, Luke Combs, Justin Moore, Dustin Lynch, Easton Corbin, Chris Young, Kelly Pickler. Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody. 2 new songs on the album. The title track has Big and Rich, and my buddy Brad Arnold from the rock group Three Doors Down, and a military song called Finally Home with Craig Morgan.
Well, it is definitely something that I feel like we really need from you guys that were around so long ago. I guess that's not the nicest way to say that.
It's all right. That means we're seasoned.
Yeah, there you go. You seasoned guys.
Yes.
I think it's great. It kind of bridges the gap for the listeners that are, out there now listening to guys like Jason Aldean and Tim McGraw and everybody.
I think it wakes everybody up to the reality too that a lot of these guys were real traditional country fans growing up. They're just pushing the envelope and taking it to new places. And I love a lot of the stuff that Jason does. Love a lot of the stuff that Luke does. Just like everybody else, I like some things, I don't like others. And country music is evolving, but there's some really great stuff happening in the format right now. There's some great traditional stuff that's swinging back that makes me real excited about where the industry is heading.
You did just collaborate with so many wonderful artists, but do you have a dream collaboration if you could just pick anybody to play with?
We tried to get her on this record. There's a couple of them, obviously, that I'd love to sing with. One would be George Strait. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I really want to do a duet with Leanne Womack, and we just couldn't make that happen this go around. But somewhere down the road, hopefully that will happen. She's one of my favorite traditional female country singers out there. I just love her voice.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So your first album was released in 1991.
Yes.
And latest in 2017, so it's a 26-year gap. Has there been a big difference in your writing, recording process?
Oh, without a doubt. Everything has changed. The whole publishing industry's changed, distribution has changed, the way that we find songs has changed. I used to get baskets. We literally, and I know we weren't supposed to have them, but those mail boxes, we'd steal them from the Atlantic's mail room. So we had tubs, these plastic mail boxes, and they would literally fill them up with cassette tapes, and I would go through I'd usually listen to a couple of thousand songs preparing for an album. And back when we were doing cassettes before it progressed to CDs, and now which everything is basically digital, nobody touches a CD very much anymore. I had a cassette deck that you could speed it up or slow it down. So when I would dub my copies down, I would go through a batch of songs, and anything that I liked I would burn to another. I had a dual cassette head, so I would burn it down, and I would adjust the speeds, and I would start working out where that might be placed on the record. So I would work on those little things as I made my copies down, and then as I would listen to it over lengthy periods of time, if I burned out on something, I'd kick it out. If it didn't hold up to the weeks and weeks of scrutiny and hold up to the ear burn, by the time I got into the studio, I pretty much had the sequence down, the speed of the records, how I wanted to cut them, how I wanted to change the track. I knew everything by the time I got in the studio because I had spent hours and hours and hours and hours. Nowadays, we don't live in a complete package type of world. People don't buy the album and listen to the whole thing. It's also single-driven And so you're really listening from a different perspective now, trying to find that impact song. You're not building. And that's really, it's sad for me because I thought that was part of the magic of making records back then. I guess to a degree, a lot of us old guys still do that.
Well, I think that it's still important. It's just maybe not the most common way to
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people don't buy albums and listen to them from top to bottom like they used to. It makes me sad.
Well, I mean, there is a comeback in the vinyl world, and I think that will hopefully lead to more people writing that way.
You know, it's a small percentage, but it's I've gotten back into vinyl too. So you know, I hit the little shops around Nashville and try to find old traditional country stuff because I think it's real cool. The sound is just so much more open. It's just different.
It's rich.
Yeah.
I like it too. You are a host of a radio show, airs all over the country, Honky Tonkin' with Tracy Lawrence. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Honky Tonkin' we started 3 years ago. The premise of the show was to focus on primarily 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, heavy 80s, 90s. You know, it hurt my heart that I wasn't hearing a lot of the older stuff on the radio. You know, even the guys from my area, it seems like there was kind of a line in the sand drawn, and all of a sudden the stuff that was gold and recurrent wasn't even being played on the top 40 progressive country stations. They just kind of said, "We're done with you," and get on out of the way. So it was out of frustration that made me decide to want to do it, because I thought I hear from everybody out on the road, everywhere that I go, people miss the music of our era. And obviously the stuff that I grew up on was very important to me too, and I think we had a big impact. We're in 84 markets now. We're just about to wrap up our 3rd year, and we expect to hit over 100 stations in the spring of next year, so it's continuing to grow. I'm amazed by it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It's my favorite era of country. I love it.
Mine too.
It's wonderful. Get a little deep here.
Come on.
What is it that drives you to continue making music?
You know, I have been passionate about country music since I was a little kid. I remember Glenn Campbell variety show when I was 2 and 3 years old. I mean, they're some of my earliest memories, and I have been singing my entire life. Really got passionate about it when I was about 12 years old. George Strait had just come on the scene, you know, and I was really getting into a lot of Merle Haggard stuff. And I'm one of these people that I've been so passionate about it for so long, even after 25 years of doing it professionally, you know, 26 years or whatever professionally at this level, I still truly love it. And I hope that I can do it till the day I die. I look at guys like Willie and guys like Charlie Daniels and even Merle, who passed away last year. You know, I hope that I can have the longevity and that my health sustains long enough that I can keep doing this for a long time. I'm still just extremely passionate about it. I love the interaction with the fans. I love getting in the studio and making records. I still enjoy it.
Another thing that I've read you're very passionate about is philanthropy. I know that you, around the holidays each year, have a bit of a cookout. Can you tell us about that?
We just finished our 12th year. The event is called Mission Possible Turkey Fry. Started off with me and just a handful of friends cooking turkeys on Thanksgiving, and we thought it would be a great way to do something that we cared about and donate our time to the rescue mission. We'd all thought that it was a very important thing. Had no idea it was going to turn into this massive thing that it has. Well, we've just finished our 12th year. We cook between 500 and 600 turkeys every year. Feeds about 7,000 plates of food to the area homeless. And 3 years ago, we started a concert. It was never set up to raise money. It was just meant to drive awareness, and we would cook some turkeys and all that. Well, now with the concert being added, we raised almost $150,000 to give to the mission this year, which is really great. The mission doesn't get any government funding because they're Christian-based, so all of the money that they have to get it from outside sources to fund what they do. And I'm really proud of all the things that are happening. There's several churches around the area that are starting to do things on Thanksgiving. They've been inspired by what we do. My wife and I work with several churches in Wilson County distributing food. So we're trying to grow this into more of a national awareness campaign where people get out and get their communities fired up about trying to make a difference within the homeless community. You know, you got to realize there are some people that, because of mental illness and different things, that you can only just try to make them comfortable. Some people have fallen on hard times and they need a hand up, and those are the people that I really want to focus on, trying to help people get back on track and have a good life where they contribute back to society. And there's a lot of people that they need a helping hand up sometimes.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so today we are going to be showing your video for Good Ole Days,
Awesome.
the titular single from your new album.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that song or the video itself?
You know, I didn't listen to a lot of songs for this album. Obviously, most of it had already been done. So I knew that I was looking for something specific. And I probably listened to 30, 40 songs, and that was about all for this record. And I found this one, and I'm like, that's it. The title encompassed everything that the record was about. It was just basically a loop and an acoustic demo, and I heard all this stuff in my head that I wanted to do with the record, and my co-producer and I, Julian King, sat down, and if you'll listen to that record, there's all these little rock and roll nuances in it. You can hear some stuff from Bo Diddley, you can hear some influences from the Beastie Boys, you can hear a little Van Halen, you know, you can hear a little Eagles stuff. I mean, you can hear all these little nuggets of stuff that from a different genre were influential to me when I was a kid growing up, because I listened to everything. And being able to get Big and Rich and Brad on this record, I think really brought it to life. I think that is so fun for me to be able to take a song from an acoustic demo and make it this massive thing and make all this cool stuff happen. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, awesome. Let's check that out, guys.
Grandma talks about Kennedy, the way Mama talks about Reagan, and Daddy talks about Staubach, like Brother talks about Aikman.
We don't remember how we hated the taste of that first beer, and everything looks better looking in the rearview mirror.
We don't know till it's too late. We're living in the good old days.
In the pictures, ain't we always having fun?
When we're young, we wanna be older. When we're old, we wanna be cool. We can't wait to graduate, and when we graduate, we just wanna go back to school.
Yeah, John, let's tell them how it was. We talked about our first time like we were super freaks. But how good could it have been cramped in that Pontiac backseat? Yeah, we're always talking about the thrill of yesterday, and that just means tomorrow we'll be talking about today.
We don't know till it's too late. We're living in the good old days.
In the pictures, ain't we always having fun?
When we're young, we wanna be older.
When we're old, we wanna be cool. We can't wait to graduate, and when we graduate, we just wanna go back to school.
When you raise on reruns, the past is where it's at.
We can't see the forest if we're always looking back.
We don't know till it's too late. We're living in the good old days.
In the pictures, ain't we always having fun?
When we're young, we wanna be older. When we're old, we wanna be cool. We can't wait to graduate. We just wanna go back.
Yes, someday we're all gonna say, yeah, these were the good old days. Hey, someday we're all gonna
Welcome back. We are sitting with Tracy Lawrence today at the Willie Nelson and Friends Museum and General Store in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks again for being here, Tracy.
Absolutely.
So you've been in the industry for a long time. Who is it, or maybe a few people, I don't know, who have you enjoyed working with the most over the years?
Oh my gosh. You know, I got the privilege of working with George Jones. It was the first big tour that I was on, and I got to spend quite a bit of time with George over the years. He was just, by the time I got to know him, George had calmed way down. And he was just a sweet, cool old cat, you know, and I loved that experience with him. I got to spend some time in the studio with George. Got to go have dinner numerous times with him and his family and Nancy, and I will always treasure that. You know, Haggard was a big influence on me from very early on in my life. I got to spend the day with Haggard at his house several years ago when we were out in Redding, California. That was a really cool experience for me. I got to tour George Strait, so I've got to do pretty much a lot of the things. Oh, I remember there was one really cool one. Burt Reynolds had this thing on TNN, probably 97, somewhere around there. It was called Burt and Friends at the Round Table. And I got to do that show with Burt Reynolds and Waylon Jennings and Jerry Reed and Joe Diffie. And we sat around and they told stories about Smokey and the Bandit, and we all sang songs, and that was a very, very cool experience. There's been some really cool highlights in my life like that.
What contemporary music are you listening to these days? Something that might surprise your audience?
Really? You really want to know that?
Mm-hmm.
I love Lady Gaga. Absolutely. Joe Bonamassa, familiar with him? Mm-hmm. I dig him a lot. I mean, my spectrum is very broad. I listen to a little bit of everything.
Those are both wonderful artists.
That's a pretty broad spectrum right there.
Yes, it is.
That's shocking enough.
It kind of spans.
We won't get it in my Britney Spears collection.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't marry your second wife.
Fair enough.
That's all I can say. Avoid that one and life would be completely different.
All right. For musicians starting out today, what advice would you give them just getting started in the music industry?
You know, I don't think there is any substitute for stage time. I was very fortunate at an early age to, there was a deputy sheriff that kind of took me under his wing, and him and his wife would play these jamboree halls around the area. And he'd play Jerry Lee Lewis style piano and sing all those rockabilly songs, and she had a really great traditional voice. She'd sing the Patsy Cline stuff. Well, there was like 5 or 6 of them around the area. A couple of them had been converted from movie theaters to these little opera stages. There were a couple of 10 buildings out in the middle of pastures. But on Saturday nights, they would have, you know, like an opening hour where they'd have young kids play with a band, do a couple of songs, and take an intermission, and the headliner would play. Well, they started taking me around all these jamboree houses. So my first experience with getting on stage with a band was when I was about 14 years old. And being able to stand in front of a band and play and then progress through that to where I was 16 and got with some older musicians and started playing VFWs and things, you learn how to work a crowd. You can't do that singing karaoke. You can't do that singing to track. Having to learn to get on stage and play in front of people for 4 or 5 sets a night for Fridays and Saturday nights, there's nothing that can take the place of that experience. Even if you just put a crappy band together with your friends, get all the stage time you can. It's so important.
That's good advice.
Yep.
All right, I've got one more question for you.
Okay.
If you were a pizza, what kind of pizza would you be and why?
See, I have to separate here because the kind of pizza that I eat would not be the kind of pizza that I would be, because I like everything on it. But I'm a pretty basic person. I mean, I'm cheese and pepperoni. I've kind of got to the point that I'm very comfortable just being simple and ordinary. I like it. I try to take the cowboy hat off as much as possible.
Well, it looks good on you. All right. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Enjoyed
it's been
myself.
a super pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in this week, guys. We had a great time talking to Tracy Lawrence. Pick up his new album, Good Ole Days, and check out his radio show on WSM. Look us up on Facebook while you're at it. We'll see you guys next week.